This episode of Grounded in Maine is sponsored by ESG Review. ESG Review magazine is published quarterly in February, May, August, and November, and is available for free in print and digital formats. ESG Review is devoted to environmental, social, and governance strategies, technologies, and investments. ESGreview.net is updated every Wednesday with 8 new stories and is home to feature articles, news items, and more. Visit esgreview.net to stay informed and help us spark the collaboration and awareness needed to develop sustainable economies and communities around the world.
There's a place where there's no trouble, no more pain, no more struggle.
Welcome to the Grounded in Maine podcast, an open conversation about how we show up for the world. My name is Amy. I started this podcast with a desire to learn new ways to be more sustainable. I thought that I would speak with other people who are doing these things and learn from them. And I am hoping that there are folks out there that feel the same way and will get something out of this. I know the word sustainability is a big word and can mean so many different things. I just want it to feel less overwhelming and intimidating. So I'm just hoping to find ways to just encourage us all to just practice something. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing. We can start small, and we're still part of progress and part of the solution. Hi there. Thank you so much for listening to Grounded in Maine today. My name is Amy Fagan. My guest today is Desiree McCabe. She's a friend of my husband's and mine, and she is really going for it with the home crafty stuff. And I am super inspired by that. She is braver than I am, and she's been super successful. So she's going to tell us all about what she's been up to. But if you love this podcast, please feel free to share it with somebody that you think would also enjoy that. If you would be willing to give a rating and review, that would be super helpful to help get my podcast in front of other ears. If you don't love the podcast, please feel free to let me know. I would love to make any changes that would provide value for you. If you would like to be a guest on the podcast and add something, I would love to chat with you too. So thank you again for listening. I hope that you enjoy this. Just a quick disclaimer, Desiree's audio is not awesome. It was a beautiful, beautiful day, and she wanted to be outside, and so we know that her sound is staticky. She didn't want this to, she didn't want to redo it and have it sound rehearsed. So because the conversation was just that good and hard to replicate. So we know that it's not awesome. It is still audible. You can hear everything, and her message is really good. So I hope that you listen. I hope you enjoy it. And here we go.
I'm Desiree McCabe, and I like to eat weeds out of my garden.
So today my guest is Desiree McCabe, of course. Desiree is a friend of my husband's and mine, and she is new-ish to a lot of sustainable things, but I just like newer things like you're doing pressure canning, and you were just talking about learning how to eat weeds, and you just got your first deer this past year. And so she's also hunting, and she's got chickens. And what else are you doing? You're doing like, you were just telling me about bunchberry jam, which I've never even heard of.
Yeah. So part of me wanting to eat weeds and stuff that I find outside is that I take a picture and I do a Google image or plant ID, whatever. So I found these plants at my camp they had little red berries all over them, and took a picture, and it looked like they were bunchberries. So I found that you could make bunchberry jam. So I collected I don't know, a lot of these little berries. And I made bunchberry jam and it came out really good. It was delicious. It's got kind of like raspberries. It's got the little seeds in them. So if you don't like seeds and stuff like that, you could make, is it jelly the one? Wait, jam is what doesn't have seeds. I can never remember the
Oh, well,
difference.
jelly definitely doesn't have seeds. It's just like basically juice.
Okay, so I made jam. Yeah. So you could make jelly out of it. So you didn't have the seeds, but that seems like way more work.
It's a
And
lot
I'm
more
kind of
work.
lazy. I'm lazy.
I don't
Well,
care about
it
seeds.
it doesn't come off that way, but I am. Yeah, so I made that, and you can eat them. It did say that you could have like stomach upset if you eat too many, but that's more so if they're not cooked. So, but yeah, so I did that. So this year I'm gonna definitely collect way more and make more because I that's the first time I ever made any sort of jam or jelly.
That
And
was your
since
first
then,
try.
yes,
Oh
since
my
then
gosh.
I've made jalapeno pepper jelly, habanero pepper jelly. I've made grape jelly, jam, jelly, jam. You know, whatever.
Did it have skins?
It's mixed for me. The grapes, no, I had to strain those out. So
Okay.
that was
Probably jelly.
whatever. We're not we're it's apples and bananas.
Spread.
April,
It's a
yes,
spread.
I made stuff that was really good for a spread and a lot of sugar. That's the problem with making jams and jellies is that they call for so much sugar
Hmm.
just to make it set up. But yeah, I've made a lot since then, and I think I've done pretty well.
Awesome. That's
But
so cool.
yeah,
But you didn't come from, I mean, you were telling me that your dad and your grandparents did some gardening, but you didn't really pay attention, so it's not something that you just like grew
yeah,
up doing.
yeah, not really. I didn't really help a whole heck of a lot in the gardens. I more sat in the garden and ate like the peas and stuff like that. I know my grandmother canned a lot of stuff, and we got them for Christmas, and but I never saw her. I don't remember seeing her do it. If I did see her do it, I was never a part of it. But as well, she passed away a couple of years ago. But as she was getting older and I was getting older, I learned how, and I brought her stuff to try that I made, and she gave me some of her recipes, and it was really
Oh.
cool to kind of flip, flip, flip the table, turn the page, and like I don't know, show her what I can do now. So,
Yeah.
but
That's so cool.
and
She must have been
yeah,
so proud.
she was. Yeah. But it's weird too, like seeing the old recipes because it calls for just a handful of cucumbers and a bushel of aluminum salt or whatever. So like they did it way different then, and then like all the different Hetty does it like this, and Margaret adds this, and it's a lot different than what we have for recipes now, for
Right.
sure.
Right. And they say things like oleo,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, or aluminum powder or something like that, which I think is
alum.
like pickle. Yes, which is pretty much pickle crisp now, I guess.
It is funky
Yeah,
stuff.
okay. Yeah, but yeah. So she was very proud. But I never thought in a million years I would have chickens, that I would enjoy gardening as much as I do, that I would make bread and canned stuff and make jelly and jams. Like that was never something that I imagined would be my life.
That's so cool. And you're
But I
also
like it.
pressure canning, but so you pressure can stews.
Yep, yep.
That,
So with some of the deer that I got this past year, we took it's raw packaging. So you put the meat at the bottom and you put like carrots and onions and some broth, and then you pressure can it. And it's so scary to think that you're canning raw meat on top of the fact that you're pressure canning, which is scary in itself. But it comes out so good. Like who's Dinty more?
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's so cool. So it's like
It's
it's totally cooked and it's totally
yeah.
like, is it tender?
Oh yeah, it's like fall apart. It's
Oh my
so good.
gosh.
It's you can't beat it. And as scary as it sounds, it's harmless. We didn't get hurt. We didn't I think maybe one can broke, but it didn't like explode and shatter all over the place. It's just the normal. Sometimes cans are weak when you're canning and sometimes you have one that breaks. But
Right. The glass just cracked and stuff
yeah,
fell out.
yeah, which sucks because you lose
Food.
precious, precious quality food. But it's it's worth the experience. I I love learning,
That's
learning how to do new things and
that's very cool.
living. Yeah,
Oh my gosh. And so you were saying that you were actually in your greenhouse all day today, which is
yep,
we're recording this on Earth Day, so that's
yeah,
perfect.
yep, yep. I had a book about companion plants and a book about square foot gardening, and I was just in there marking stuff up and figuring out who went with who, and yeah, because
Right.
companion planting, it's something that I've always been interested in, but I go to the garden and I get so overwhelmed with my plan of what I'm gonna do that I just can't.
Right.
So I was focused today.
Good for you. Good for you. I always get stressed out like because things get planted at different times. And if you start the seeds at the same time, some things don't grow as quickly as the others, so you want to keep them back. And then by the time you put them in the garden, it's like it's already full. It's like crowded.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
so I struggle with that. And I'll just like throw some, because I know that herbs go well around a lot of vegetables
Hmm.
like dill and basil, and they'll also repel pests. And then there's like, is it
Exactly.
peppers? Peppers and tomatoes don't like to grow close to each other. Is that right?
Peppers. Uh, I just looked at the book. I think they were okay together. They are okay together, but you don't want to put tomatoes or peppers and dill or something like something that you would cook with together possibly, but don't want to grow them together. I think it's dill, nasturtium, a flower, goes really well with a lot of plants.
Huh.
And I grew nasturtium for the first time. I don't know if I'm saying it quite right. They're beautiful and you can eat them and they're very peppery. They're very good.
Oh,
So
like
I got
like black pepper? They taste like black pepper?
kind of, yeah, yes,
I have
yep.
not tried it.
Well, I bought a ton of seeds this year, so hopefully I will have an overabundance of nasturtium and you'll get to try some.
We got some seeds last year. James's cousin lives in Alaska and he grows them like crazy and he saves the seeds and they sent me some seeds last year. And I did grow some and we got a few of them, but I did not eat them.
I'm the one. I like to eat stuff out of my garden, whether it's flowers or weeds or whatever.
That's awesome. I mean, companion
Yep.
planting is definitely something that I've been curious about as well. And I have like I've totally thought about it and I've planned it out in my head and then like I was saying, the seeds don't germinate the same speed and then you just feel like you don't want to
Mm,
put them out at the same time and then I just get
yeah.
impatient and I start crowding it out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a very patient but impatient person. So gardening for me is I have a hard time. I have a hard time when it comes to waiting for everything to come up. And then I have a hard time with dealing with everything once it's time to harvest it and trying to use it before it goes bad. So sometimes the chickens get a lot of it, but that's good for them too. So,
That is true. Yeah, I mean
but,
it's April and April in Maine is not prime gardening season. And we
right.
have the spring fever so bad. Like
Uh,
I want to fill that garden today and that's a bad idea.
yeah, I know. I've been itching so bad so that's why I've been in my greenhouse because I'm like, at least I can do that. I can get some stuff started, and I can grow stuff in the greenhouse because I've got some raised beds in the greenhouse and that stay in there all year long. And then I've got tables that I can start seeds that will go in the garden out back. And then I've got to get to camp and plant stuff there as well. But
Yay. Do you
I
have a
have
lot of wild
projects.
stuff up there? I mean, I know you've got the bunch berries.
There's the bunch berries. I found witch hazel. I believe I found witch hazel last year. Milkweed. There's a bunch of birch and I don't know how to say it properly. Mullein. Mullein.
Okay.
That's something I haven't used it yet, but it is something that is medicinal and herbal. So that's another thing I want to get better at, trying to figure out what I can use for medicinal purposes, or what I can, not necessarily just for food supply, but for medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to have to rely on pharmaceutical or the grocery store for that matter.
That's very cool. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I mean, and you can't get that at the grocery store,
No. You can get
whatever,
aloe
however you say
sometimes,
it, right?
right? Yeah.
Um, what does witch hazel look like?
It's got a yellow flower on it. I'm trying to think.
It's not, is that the same as yarrow?
I
I know
don't
yarrow
believe
has a yellow
so.
family flower.
I think that's a good question. I don't believe so. I
Okay.
think it was, maybe it wasn't which, it was a year ago,
Yeah,
or almost.
exactly.
It
Yeah.
was last summer. But there's all kinds of stuff at camp before we mowed the fields and everything. I want to say it was witch hazel, but then I almost want to say that witch hazel is a tree. So am I wrong about that? I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff.
I don't know either. There's
Yeah,
always this here. We'll figure that out.
right.
But it's cool that
Exactly.
there's different plants that grow out in the wild where your camp is, and then there
Yeah.
is where you're growing things at home.
Yeah. And then there's even stuff like on the ground at home that you probably have in your yard that a lot of people don't realize is the pineapple weed, which is that little, it's like a
Oh,
little
yep.
green thing, kind of looks like peas or something. And if you smell it, it smells like pineapple, and you can eat those.
Do you cook
But
them first or you just pop them in?
uh, I've only tried like a little bit raw, but I think you can cook. I'd have to look it up more, but I know
I'll
you
have
can
to
eat
look it up
them.
because
Yeah,
we
it's
definitely
just,
have those.
yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of weeds that in your yard, in your garden, that you can eat, that nobody would ever think like, oh, why don't we just saute this up with our dinner tonight? But then there's me.
Right? Well, you were saying lamb's quarters you were
Mm,
eating.
hmm Lamb's quarters, I cooked up a lot. It was very like, I feel like if I remember correctly, it was like a spinach asparagus type flavor. It was good,
Hmm,
but I
very
love
cool.
greens. Yeah. So I'd love to try to make dandelion wine or dandelion, anything with dandelion. I just
Right?
haven't, but
Yeah, dandelion jelly I've heard tastes just like honey,
yes,
and
I've
I
heard
have
that
not
too.
tried that, but that's very cool. I
Yes,
I do enjoy dandelions, just like I think I love having them around.
right?
I'm looking forward
Yeah,
to it. Those little yellow flowers just popping up out of the grass. And now that things are
exactly.
green, I want the little pops of yellow.
Yep. Well, we've
Spring
got the
fever, man.
forsythia coming up right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So
I
exciting.
have spring fever bad. Yep. Very exciting.
It's finally not snowy.
I know.
Let's move on.
Yep.
Um, but I'm just so impressed, Desiree, that you, look at me, I just remembered your name. That, that you don't have that fear. Like a lot of people, even though they're like afraid, they're like, no, I have to try this. You're just like, why? You're like, I'm just gonna try it.
Right. I
That's so
mean,
cool.
hopefully it won't kill anybody, but I'll try it first. So I wouldn't share it otherwise. But I know Davis thinks I'm crazy, but he's even turned into trying to eat stuff like, I don't remember what it was last night. He found something and wanted to eat it or something. And he was like, oh my God, you've grown on me. And I'm like, yep, see, I look for mushrooms. Mushrooming's scary but so I haven't got really into that, but I would like to. Another one of those 1,000,010 projects that I feel like I need to have.
Right. Yeah. I
But
mean, I had somebody on talking about mushrooms, and he was saying, in the state of Maine, there are only two that will actually kill you. Two mushrooms in
yeah,
the wild that will kill you. He's like, just know what those are, and anything else you can try. They
yeah,
might
but
make you sick, but
right. And I don't want to spend hours being sick because I made a stupid mistake. I
right.
mean, I guess I could make the same mistake trying to eat bunch berries or whatever kind of lily I want to try. I don't know. But
Right.
I do try to research before I, ingest. I
Just
don't.
put things in your mouth before you
Yeah,
even think about it.
exactly. I research but yeah, no, you can't be scared because if you're scared, I mean, you're never gonna know. You're always gonna wonder like what would have happened if I tried that. And I'm like the master at it. I don't know. I mean, I don't think I'm a master at anything I do, but I dabble in a lot of stuff.
That's very cool. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm scared of the pressure canner, and that's and I can all the time, but
Yeah.
um, I
But it's
just
a
think
whole
that
different thing.
it's a whole different thing, and I really, really want to. So I need to. This is going to be
You
my
need
year.
to. Yeah, you need to. Give it a try. It's not gonna do what you think it is. It's gonna be awesome for sure.
Because if I could do
Uh
broth, if I could can broth, and I could can
yeah,
soups, it would save
exactly.
so much energy. Like,
Exactly. And we've been saving like we have vegetable scraps. We put it in a Ziploc bag in the freezer and we're gonna save that for making vegetable stock. We've got bones that we're gonna make bone broth with. Like just saving as much as we can, like use as many parts of the stuff that we use as we possibly can. Like less waste the better. And we tried making our own kombucha, which actually came out stupid good.
really?
Yeah, it took a long time. It takes a lot. We ordered our first SCOBY on eBay, I think, or Amazon. I think it was eBay. And oh my God, the amount of SCOBYs that we've got built up in that SCOBY hotel now. But our first batch, it took a lot longer because our house, we keep it colder than
Cold.
most people. So it took forever for it to ferment properly and to get to that
Uh,
point.
okay.
But yeah, we added beet juice to it, and oh my God, it came out so good. It's gone now. So we have another one that's in the works, which hopefully, since it's warming up, it might take a little less time.
Oh,
But
now that it's
the,
warmer, yeah.
yeah, but beet
Did you
juice,
say you have a SCOBY hotel?
yes. Yep. Yep. It's a, yep, the Scobie Hotel.
How many SCOBYs fit in that hotel?
Well, they just keep growing. So it's got all the kombucha in it as well that's fermenting right now. And then it's got all these scobies that are building up in it. It kind of looks like mushrooms, but I think it's a gallon jar, like a gallon pickle jar that we've got everything growing in. And then once it got to the right, Davis did a lot of the work, which he's gone off on a road trip with the kid. So this is when I'd probably have him chime in and help explain it. But so
That's
we
okay.
we had to boil a bunch of tea and sugar and all this stuff and let it sit within the SCOBY that we bought. And then all these SCOBYs have built up since then. I can send you a picture later of all
That'd be awesome.
the hotel. It's really cool, and We've gone to, there's like a kombucha bar. There's a couple of them, but there's one in Portland, I believe, called Urban Ferments. I don't know if you've heard
Okay.
of it.
Urban
You should look it up.
Fermentory, I think. I got
Yes,
some fire cider from them.
yes. Their fire ciders,
It is
intense.
spicy.
Um, they're, I make my own fire cider, which I can have you try. Their fire cider was a little bit much for me, but their kombuchas are really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fire cider was very spicy
It
and
had
strong.
like ghost peppers,
Yes, which
but
we
it'll
put.
burn whatever you got out, man.
Yes, we put cayenne and all that in ours. Theirs was there was something extra strong. Maybe it was just the batch we got. It was good, but a lot. But they have beet kombucha. It's very good, and ours came out, I'd say, just as good, if not better. Not to toot our own horns, but came out
Toot toot.
awesome. So, right? So, kombucha is our new thing that we're doing, and we have way too many projects all the time. Sourdough starter and all that. Like, it never ends.
Oh yeah, I didn't even touch on that one. So you make bread. Do you make bread every weekend?
I make bread every weekend, but not with sourdough because I'm still trying to learn the sourdough thing because you have to feed your sourdough starter every day. You have to discard and then feed. And so you've got discard in the fridge and you've got the sourdough starter that's rising and it has to be super bubbly. It's a lot of work. But regular bread, yes, I make that every weekend. And
That's
that's
amazing.
probably, yeah, that's fun. And I think you let it rise for 2 hours and then you knead it and then you let it sit for another 40 minutes and then you cook it. So that's way less work than sourdough, but I'm a glutton for punishment and I feel like I have not enough projects when I've got way too many.
I really need to try to get bread down. I've had really bad luck with bread, but the number of sandwiches that James eats every week, if I made the bread, it would be so
Yeah,
much less expensive.
I'll send you my recipe. It's a no knead, so it's very minimal kneading, pretty much. It's easy,
Cool.
and I just add whatever I want to it after, and I could cook it in my Dutch oven. So
Ooh, I need to get one of those.
yeah, oh,
So my goodness,
Cabela's.
so you're canning, you're making jams, you're making stews and canning, pressure canning your deer meat and eating weeds and growing a garden, like you're and kombucha. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
what more could I do? I do Reiki. Well, I'm Reiki 2 certified, but it's been a while since I practiced. But yeah, that's another thing that is on my list of wood burning. Yeah,
Oh, like craft wood burning?
yeah,
Oh my gosh.
yep,
That's super
yeah,
cool.
yeah. I can't seem to get enough stuff to do.
Yeah. Well, it's like easier in the summer because there are so many like daylight hours that you're just like
Yeah,
you feel like you need to fill that. In the winter, of course, you're like 3 o'clock. It's time for bed. Um,
yeah,
but it just the
yeah,
days feel so long and there's so much time to fill when it's
mm-hmm,
daylight. I
yep.
get that. I mean, we're
Oh,
definitely like guarding at like 7 p.m. and um,
it's
yeah,
great,
it
great.
is. And I mean, you must sleep really well working long days,
Yeah,
doing all
for the
the
most,
stuff.
yeah. I definitely keep my brain busy all day long and my body. Yep. So,
Wow. That's so cool.
yeah.
So Desiree, when I say the word sustainability, what does that mean to you?
Oh my God. I've been thinking about answering this question since you asked me to be on your podcast. So, my idea of sustainability is just being able to, grow my own uh, vegetables, whatever, my own food, try to harvest whatever I can from nature and what I can do, and work with community as opposed to going to the grocery store and going to the pharmacy. Like, I want to living off the land, and trying to do the best you can without relying on the big world, I guess.
Right. That's awesome.
Community, yeah.
So when you all your projects, so bread and kombucha and canning and stuff like that, is there like a reason for that, or is it just, is it like that you want to feel self-sufficient, or is it just projects, like something to keep yourself busy?
It started out, I guess, as a project, and then as we got further into this crazy world, and found a camp, and it became more of something that we need to learn and keep doing for living. And if stuff hits a fan, we need to be prepared and have. That makes me sound crazy, but we have to have a stockpile of stuff that is, what's the word? It's not going to expire. It's going to shelf stable,
Mhm.
stuff that we can rely on if we can't go to the grocery store. And so it did start out as a project, and it's now become more of something that will help us sustain our lifestyle that we would
Mhm.
like to have
Yeah.
soon, I hope.
It's nice to have that. And I mean, I grew up in the Mormon church, so that was kind of ingrained in me to have like the stockpile, or have a year's supply, or 6 months, or however like to have something. And I actually really appreciate that, because I have some anxiety, and so just to not have to panic if something is out of stock, or if there's a pandemic or something. Like, I know I lost my crap when my toilet paper auto ship was
Yeah,
canceled at the beginning of the
yeah,
pandemic.
yeah.
I
I've
was a
even
wreck.
looked into, yeah, I've looked into reusable toilet paper. It's kind of like the baby diapers that are reusable, but it's toilet paper, and I've definitely looked into it. I haven't
Same.
tried it, but it's
I'm
something
so
that
close. I'm afraid that James is going to be like, that is too
you're
far.
you've completely lost it now.
that
Yeah,
that
I
is
mean,
way too much.
yeah, but it might be something that, I mean, how much better for the earth would it be? Or how much, I mean, you
For your
can,
septic system, for
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I
And at
know,
camp, we have an outhouse, so less stuff going in an outhouse.
right?
I mean,
I'm
it's,
down. I see it at a
yeah,
go refill, and I'm like, should I pick that up?
yes.
James is gonna see that bill. He's gonna
They
see.
do have it there. I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
they do.
Good to know.
But I mean, really, we could buy like scraps of fabric, and
Mm,
because I think
I have
the roll
plenty.
of toilet paper is like $35 or something like that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, and like you said, I mean, I've got plenty of scrap fabric. I could make my own reusable toilet paper. It doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
you clean it, and then it's good.
Yeah.
I
We
mean,
we actually bought a bidet at the when the toilet paper order was canceled.
I've
And
not
we
ever
never
used one, but
installed it. I'm so scared it's going to be like cold water.
I've wanted to try one so bad, but yeah, so
I
let
hear
me
there's
know once
nothing
you.
like it. Like, you'll never go back, but
I've
I just
heard that too.
cold water. um
I think they have them that warm up, but I don't know for sure. I think
yeah.
they have them with like warmer water,
Yeah,
but
that's not
I've
the one
heard
that we
there's
bought.
nothing like it. Yeah.
We might try it in the
Hey,
summer.
right. Hey, cold water is good for you too.
Yeah.
I jumped in the ocean on January 1st.
That's right,
I've
you
done it all
did.
twice now. Yeah, I'm wearing my
Oh,
lobster dip shirt.
lobster dip.
But yeah, I've actually, there's a group that jumps into, I think it's Wolf's Neck, or it could be
Winslow Park, I think.
Winslow. Yes, yes. they jump in the ocean every weekend at high tide all year long.
Mm.
And I keep meaning to join them, and I just have not yet, but it's amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
it's not going to happen tomorrow because you're working.
Yeah, I know. It never ends. But I will one day. I will join them.
Yeah.
But
So I love that you are like the example for so many people that you know they're gonna hear this and they're gonna be like, she's just doing it. She's just doing it. Like why can't I try something? Um,
right.
but I think that it's such a good thing. It's such a good thing to have out there. Just that you're not like living off the grid, like solar power, and there's nothing against that at all. But everyone can't afford to do that. But
Right.
there are so many
That's my
things that we
goal.
can do. Yeah. But
Yeah.
right now it doesn't have to be everything. You don't have to be doing
Right.
everything, although you're doing practically everything. But
You don't
you know,
have to jump all in. You don't have to jump in with both feet. You can dip your toes in, and that's how I started. I dipped my toes in.
right. Right. You didn't start off doing all these things. You've just added like,
Mm-mm.
one thing at a time or two things at a time.
Right.
And it's only
And
been a
all
few
this,
years.
yeah, exactly. I've been with Davis for 8 years now, and I think I started canning 5 or 6 years ago. So I've started making bread 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. So it's been a slow snowball of
But
things that I want
it's
to learn.
yeah, it's cool to do it that way though, because you start with one thing and then that thing becomes like it's no big deal. And then you can just
Yeah,
try another thing, and as you get just more comfortable with that, you can add another thing if you want
yeah,
to. But I imagine it's kind of addictive. You're like, well, I don't need to buy bread anymore. I don't need to buy vegetables
exactly.
anymore.
I can make pretzels. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can make crackers. I make crackers a couple times a week, and they're so good, and they're so much healthier than anything I could buy at the store.
Oh,
Yeah, with
send me
my
your recipe
sourdough
for that.
discard. I will. It's with my sourdough discard. So if you need sourdough discard, I can pass off some of that to you too.
I gotta research that because I'm scared of
Yeah,
sourdough. It's the daily like keeping track of everything.
it's
I tried
yeah,
doing like a water kefir thing,
yeah.
and it tasted really bad, and I'm supposed to like keep growing it. I'm like, but I
I
don't
don't like
wanna.
it. Yeah. So
That,
yeah, sourdough. It's a pain in the butt because you have to feed it every day. Sometimes I skip a day, but then I feel like it's just putting me backwards. It's like it's a living thing. It's just like having a plant, I
like a
guess.
ball and chain.
Yeah, pretty much. It's just like, yeah, it's a living thing. So you have to feed it, you have to take care of it, and but the crackers, you use the discard, you just put them in a pan and put some seasoning in there, and it almost tastes like the extra toasty Cheez-Its, except there's no cheese in them, and I don't understand why they taste like cheese. They're so good.
Oh, I wonder if it's like um well, because it makes its own yeast, right?
Right.
It's
Yep.
its own yeast. There's that like nutritional yeast that you can buy that people will use if they're
Yes.
vegan or something, or if they're
Yeah.
dieting.
Yep.
I wonder if it's similar to that because it's the
That
yeast.
makes sense. I never even thought of that, but that makes 100% sense. Yep. That makes, yep. I
Cool.
bet you that's exactly what it is.
Cool. Well,
Yep.
so if anybody else is interested in following you and stalking you and getting your recipes, you can ask yourselves. But so how would someone find you, Desiree?
So I'm pretty bad with social media, and I do have a Facebook, I do have an Instagram. If somebody was more interested in learning about me, I could definitely step it up and like do something to help. I just never realized I was interesting until right now. So Yeah, so I can definitely make a work on that if somebody would really be interested in me doing so. But right now I'm Desiree McCabe on Facebook and in real life, and
And in
I,
real life.
and I don't honestly know what my Instagram name is. So
Yeah.
I think it's one, the number N, only RAE. I think that's what it is. But you won't learn a whole lot from me there at this point. But like I said, if people are actually interested, I can definitely work on having more of a social presence and help people learn to jump in with one toe at a time.
That's awesome. So cool. And I'm gonna put Desiree's contact stuff in the show notes as well. But Desiree, thank you so much. Oh my
You're
gosh, this is
welcome.
it's so awesome to talk to different people who are doing different things, and just the way that you do it, and the way that, the order that you started in. And I don't really know the order, but everyone does it a little bit differently, and a lot of people start with like bread, but seems like it's one of the last things that you started doing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
doing the beet kombucha, that sounds really cool.
Yeah.
That is something that I'd love to try. Just like trying to do kombucha.
Yeah.
Because I
It's
think that
another thing
James
that
would
takes
really like it.
patience.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet he would. Takes
Um,
patience, which is something you have to learn. That's
yeah. I've tried kombucha from a store, like the grocery store, and I was like, that is not for me. But I've also been told that it's not the same if you make it. So,
and there's certain ones that are better than
yeah.
others. So I could help you learn on that too. But yeah,
I'll just learn to make it.
yeah, exactly. We probably should have a couple more of these because I feel like we could talk for hours on end on all kinds of different stuff. But
Yeah, I could just come and help you with projects someday.
yeah, let's do it.
Follow you
Yep,
around.
sounds
Cool.
good to me. I
Awesome.
can help supply you with hot stuff and herbs. I don't know.
Awesome.
But,
That sounds
yeah.
great. That sounds fun, actually. I that's one of the things, like I'm intimidated because I'm such a hands-on learner that if I can't see it, like pressure canning, there are some things that you like, how do you do the gauge and like put it
Right.
on just right and know, when it's at the right pressure and all that stuff. Like it's not like something that I can absorb by reading. I'm not one of those people.
Me
So
either.
if I
Me
watch
either.
somebody do it, then it will be better.
You are more than
So,
welcome.
okay. All
All
right. Very good.
right.
Thank you so much. I'm
Thank
going to.
you.
Welcome to the Grounded in Maine podcast, an open conversation about how we show up for the world. My name is Amy. I started this podcast with a desire to learn new ways to be more sustainable. I thought that I would speak with other people who are doing these things and learn from them. And I am hoping that there are folks out there that feel the same way and will get something out of this. I know the word sustainability is a big word and can mean so many different things. I just want it to feel less overwhelming and intimidating. So I'm just hoping to find ways to just encourage us all to just practice something. And it doesn't have to be a huge thing. We can start small, and we're still part of progress and part of the solution.
There'll come a day, my mama told me, when I find love to have and hold me, a heart that's strong and so sincere. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? Oh, tell me, how do I get there from here? 'Cause here and now I'm so far down that mercy's bound, yeah, to find me. sickness will heal the age with sweet forgiveness. Wages of war will disappear. Just tell me, how do I get there from here? I wonder, how do I get there from here? Yeah, 'cause here now I'm so far down, and mercy's bound, yeah, to find me. When that state of grace has finally found me, will there be music, ooh, and good friends around me? Yeah, yeah. And I'll just smile through happy tears and wonder